everybody. As a part of our year-long Veterans Awareness Campaign, Return the Service, we feature veterans and share their stories in a series we call the Pivot 11, in honor of the men and women who volunteer to bravely serve their country abroad. We discuss the issues they face as they return home while highlighting their successes in acclimating to life after war. Our next guest is not only an Iraq War veteran, he's a celebrated actor, a New York Times bestselling author, and a motivational speaker. Please welcome to the show, J.R. Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Celebrated.
Yeah, celebrated.
I've never been celebrated
We'll
until I
celebrate you all
got
day
here.
long.
I come here more often so I can be celebrated.
All right, JR, you were in the Army infantry. So what
Yes.
made you join to begin with, and what was your experience in the military like?
You know, it was an all-around kind of a good deal, a good package, so to speak. I just graduated from high school, and I looked at the military to be a great opportunity for me to essentially grow up, learn a lot about life. I'd be able to serve a country that was, you know, under attack the year before, because I graduated from high school in 2002. It also would give me an amazing opportunity to go to college, get money to pay for that. My family's from Central America, and I was able to see as a young man growing up in this country how good we have it here. Despite some holes that we may have, we still have it. It's great in this country. And because of my mom being able to work and have those opportunities, what it did for my family back in the country, so I felt a sense of like, I got to do something for this country. I got to give back. I got to be one of those individuals. So it was a kind of an all-around thing. And I joined immediately. Well, I actually joined in September 2002. And as you mentioned, I was infantry. And I chose infantry because at 19 years old, I was like, I want to be a badass. I want to go out there and do it. You know, that was my mindset. I want to be in it. And literally 6 months later, I was deployed. And 7 months later, I was driving a Humvee in Karbala, Iraq, which is just south of Baghdad, when the front left tire of the Humvee that I was driving ran over a roadside bomb. The other 3 guys in the vehicle with me were thrown out of the vehicle. They all walked away with, as I say, minor physical injuries, stressing that there's the mental aspect of it. Meanwhile, I was trapped inside of the truck. And I was trapped inside of the truck for about 5 minutes. I'll answer the question that's probably gonna come. I was completely conscious. I remember every single, you know, for the most part, every single detail of it. I can see my hands changing in a way that, you know, as I tell people, you only see on television in those Hollywood films. And bravely, 2 of my soldiers reached inside of the vehicle, pulled me out. And then the medevac process started, and I was brought to San Antonio, Texas, where I spent 3 years. And in those 3 years, I had 32 surgeries, and I've had 2 since. So it was a long road. It was a long road. It still is a long road. I mean, it's never completely over. You know, there's always subtle reminders.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about, because you talked about some of the challenges that veterans face every single day. Obviously, mental health is a huge one. There is an endemic of veteran suicide in this country. 22 soldiers take their own lives every single day. Talk to us about your process, how you've coped with your time after coming back from Iraq.
Well, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, it's something that I didn't lose a lot of my guys over in Iraq. I lost a lot of them when they came back home. You know, and it was never really home when they came back. You know, it was still a war zone. For me personally, what I learned early on, what really helped me kind of deal with, you know, everything that I was dealing with, was the fact that I was able to essentially connect with other vets. I was able to be as a service to them. One of the things that, even though it was very early on in my military career, that I was disappointed about when I came out of my coma, was being told that I was never going to be able to go back to the Army, to be an infantryman, to go back to Iraq and finish my tour with my guys. I started it with them. I needed to finish it with them. And I wasn't going to be given that opportunity. And of course, I was completely devastated. Aside from, of course, being pissed off about the fact that, you know, what life am I really going to have? I'm alive, but I'll never live. But what I started to do is I started to visit other patients that were also wounded, because I bought into this whole concept of service. I love this idea of service. I love being able to do something for somebody else. When that was taken away from me, I felt, well, what service can I actually do now? What I quickly learned, I can serve by just essentially sharing my experience with these other vets that are going through the same thing that I've already gone through, that I'm still going through. And I started to share with these guys, and I started to talk to these guys, and before you know it, it became something that, as much as I was helping them, it was helping me. So I talked about it. I talked about it. And as you can tell, I don't shut the hell up. I keep talking. You know, I just go. And I'm not afraid. Like, I'm not afraid to break the stigma of, you know, oh, you're tough, you're strong, and you don't cry, and you don't show emotion. Like, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, there was a boot camp that broke some of the things of me being J.R. Martinez, broke me down to create me into a soldier, to be prepared mentally and physically to go into combat. But when I came home, there was no D boot camp. There was no
such an untraditional path that you took. You wrote the book. You became an actor. Why those choices, and how have they helped you?
Well, it was an opportunity to continue to talk, to continue to share, to continue to be a voice, not only for for me therapeutically to be able to go through all of that and essentially kind of appreciate the journey that I've been on, but at the same time put something on paper in the sense of the book for other vets to pick up and to read and say, wow, look at this other guy that's doing the same thing, to go onto television so these guys can say, wow, look what this guy's been able to do. I'm just another example of, that, what, you can survive, man. You just got to hang on, and you got to find a way to connect with your guys again and connect with yourself. So it's tough. It's really hard, with all, as you mentioned, the 22 vets, a day. We're talking about almost 8,000 a year. I think it's close to that number. And it's just something that it's like, I always encourage guys, listen, talk, connect with your guys. Because what happens, these guys are in the hospital, or they're with their units. The minute they get out, they go back to middle of America, to their small towns where no one's ever been in the military, no one understands them, and they feel completely disconnected. They feel like they're alone. Absolutely, they're completely alone. I mean, how many times have something happened to you and you immediately go to the place like, I feel like I'm alone? Millions of people in this world, and you think I'm alone. And that's what happens with the vet, especially when it's even a smaller community. So what we need to do is we need to understand as a community how we all can be a part of their healing process. It just doesn't take one of us. There's a lot of gaps within the government, however, it's a great space, and good people that are doing it is the nonprofit world. When you get the nonprofit world that are really doing good things, it gives America the opportunity to jump on the bandwagon and say we're going to support these guys.
JR, I could listen to you all day long. We should do a whole show
We'll talk later.
JR. Seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I'm free all day, every day. You can buy JR's book, Full of Heart, My Story of Survival, Strength, and Spirit through iTunes and Amazon.